The police are the public, and the public are the police. The police begin only matters of the public who are paid to give full-time attention to duties which are incumbent on every citizen in the interest of community welfare and existence. Robert Peel. I personally believe that all people who receive food stamps and other support should be required to go through a form of drug testing before they are able to receive the funding and help. As a person in the United States, I am one day going to be required to pay taxes with my own hard-earned money. This money is going to various things that do benefit our country, such as infrastructure and agriculture. However, some of my hard-earned money goes to people uh, that require additional funding to provide food and other needs for their families. I have family members that receive welfare in the form of food stamps. However, I do not know if they should. These certain family members have been arrested multiple times for drug use, drunk driving, and even child neglect. Now, close your eyes and imagine this. You're driving to work one day, going to work at your 9 to 5, contemplating what bills you're gonna pay and what bills you aren't gonna be able to, because you are unable to afford what you currently have. However, you drive past an alley and see there are two people back there exchanging some form of money and what looks to be a package. However, you just go on about your day because it doesn't affect you. But as the day goes on, you realize that you have very little food at home and you must go to the store later that day and purchase some food. Well, as you walk into the store, you see that same face that you had seen earlier that day in the alley. You are able to tell that they have not been to work within that day, and you know that they have purchased what is most likely an illegal substance or material earlier that day. But as you go to checkout, you end up in line behind them. You're able to look and see that they have a buggy full of good food and drinks, while you're doing the math in your head to even figure out if you'll be able to get that small basket of food that you have. You think, this is unfair. Someone like me that's worked really hard for everything that they have is barely able to get something, while someone who has most likely made poor decisions and doesn't go to work is able to have more than you. However, that's just the theory of life in America. I'm going to convince you on why drug testing should be required in order to receive food stamps and other federal funding. First, I'll discuss how many people are on federal food stamp funding, as well as how it's good. Then I will discuss what laws have been put into place in order to know more about how people are acting to try and prevent the problems of neglect, drug use, and getting food stamps if you're on an illegal substance. And finally, what I believe should be implemented in the future to help with this problem. Before we have the ability to use our own prejudice about food stamps, it is good to know how many people are benefited from them. Many people are affected by the welfare stamps that are given out, and not all of those people are bad. However, there are two major flaws in the welfare system that create talk for various new restrictions and programs. Currently, there are roughly 9.5 million families that are supported by a program called SNAP. These programs support low-income families that are in need of financial support and don't have the ability to feed their families. SNAP is only one of the organizations that support families in need. However, some of the families are taking advantage of the system in place to help so many. SNAP is intended to be a short-term program that helps families get back on their feet. However, many people are using this on a long-term scale to support their families while not actively pursuing a career, which in turn causes for people that are paying taxes to have more of their hard-earned money taken away from their pockets. Another major flaw in the welfare system is that families are given money based off of how many children are in a household. This has been twisted by many in order to gain money from organizations such as SNAP and foster programs. Foster parents are giving a set amount of money for groceries every month. This means that any of the dollars that these families receive as income are spent as purely profit. Therefore, these people are essentially being paid by the common taxpayer that can barely make ends meet and by their job. Is this fair to the economy of the United States? Is this fair to the average citizen such as me? Is this fair to the people that have worked so hard for what little they have? Is this something that we can allow to happen to innocent people in today's society where equality and fairness is wanted for all? There are many questions to be asked about the fairness of the process and the people that mistreat it. However, some people and places have begun to work on limiting the impact that is made by those who misuse the system. Various states have put new laws into place that have allowed for some of these mistakes to be better caught and even prevented. Various states have passed laws that allow for drug testing of participants in the SNAP program, as well as other programs. Roughly 20 states have proposed or passed bills that allow for them to test at random for drugs and other substances of participants within a program. However, there has been a fight within certain states to determine whether or not this violates the rights of people for unreasonable search. However, North Carolina is currently one of the states that has a bill proposed to drug test before giving welfare. People also have the right to hire private investigators in many states to see if someone is performing welfare fraud. This simply means that there is the ability to have a suspicious home or family looked into to determine whether or not there may be some form of welfare fraud being performed. However, you do, as a personally, have to invest in the agent to look into this. Knowing the changes that are being made for the good of things allow for me to have more hope in the future of this system. So, what do I hope the system looks like in the future? I have my own personal vision for the future of the welfare system, and although I may only be 16 years old, I believe it's the welfare system is one of the great things that helps those in need in the USA, and what makes our nation so good. In the future, I hope there are an abundance of opportunities for people who need the welfare system, that I am personally able to help out. I believe that drug testing and testing for other substances should be required in order to better assure that the people who are receiving help truly do need it, for reasons that they can't control. I believe that the process of gaining food stamps or welfare credit should be intensified from the criminal aspect of things. I think that people who have any small action that could possibly result in the harm of someone else or have been prosecuted harder do not deserve to have welfare funding. And if a person is unable to provide for their children, they should be required to turn them into social services until they are able to have the conditions that are required for a young child or infant. I also believe that the process to become a certified foster parent should be intensified. My family has personally been through the process, and I believe that there are various things that can be improved upon. Things that do not have to do with safety, but test to assure that the parents of the foster homes are doing things for the correct reasoning. There are many positives and negatives to the welfare system, and I believe that subtle changes could make a big difference. There are many problems that face the welfare system, although there are things being done to prevent these problems in the future. I personally believe that small things make a big difference. Many people are taking advantage of the welfare system, and if we are not the generation to do something about it, then life will be unbearable for those in the future. If you know someone who is taking another person's money, or even your money, would you just let that happen? Or would you do something about it? Thank you.